What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of The Development. We are live, and today I have a special guest with me today, Arizona Lindsey, aka Ari. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
Uh-oh, can we not hear you?
Can you hear me
There you
now?
go. Nope. Uh-oh. No, I cannot hear you. That's weird. Hold on.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I could hear you.
Oh no, you're muted. Oh no. Sorry, guys. We are having technical difficulties. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Oh no. Oh no. All right. So hold on. Let's fix you up. Hello?
Hi. Hello.
Oh no. How about you get out and then come back in?
Okay. All right, hold on.
There you go. Sorry, guys. She Mike just went out for some reason, so she'll be right back with us. But for whoever's tuning in, I appreciate you coming on the show today. And all right, she is back. Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
Oh no. Oh no. I can't hear you. That was so weird. I heard you
We were just
before.
joking.
Hold on. That's so weird. That is so weird.
Can you hear me?
Hold on, guys. Trying to get her back up.
Did I fix it?
There you go. I hear you.
I fixed it.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ari.
Hey, guys. All right. So Ari's here. We fixed it with some technical difficulties, but we are okay.
We can pretend that I'm super techie. I have no idea what I did. I think I just kept redoing it.
That is so weird that it happened. I don't even know what happened. So how have you been?
Been good. It's been a little crazy with the album coming out. I've been doing like a lot of work, but it's like good work. It's good work.
How has these particular times have treated you so far?
I think there's a lot of other people who have it more challenging, and so I just try to be grateful for the things that I do have.
Definitely. So let's get into the show. So we're gonna be talking about your album, and it's called The Purpose, and it's gonna be released February 28th. Am I correct, or am I wrong?
So the album's actually called The Process.
The Process.
Yeah, and it's gonna be released April 9th of this year.
All right, awesome. And so you're a pop country artist, and also you're a mental health awareness. How would you say that? Like mental health awareness, like spokesperson, I could say.
Yeah, like I do a lot of work to bring I try not to use the word awareness because I feel like there's so many, like everybody knows about mental health now, but I feel like not a lot of people do something about that. So I use the word activist, meaning that like I go out and do things, rather it's like working directly with the homeless population, working directly with at-risk youth. And I try not to post like directly about what it is that I'm doing, because otherwise it can make the people you're working with feel like charity work.
Yeah.
And people, I know this firsthand because I've struggled with homelessness. And when I was a teenager, I almost said when I was a youth, and that almost made me feel really old. But yeah, I'm a mental health activist, and yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us more about that? I know during these like crazy times, there's just a lot of people I know unfortunately struggling with, like, let's say, their health and COVID, or just family, or themselves. And since you're an activist, like, what what can people do during this time where, like, if they're struggling, or, like, they're not in the right mindset, what would you like advise about that?
So the first thing that I would say is that, and I can relate to the feeling of feeling isolated and lonely. That was something that I started struggling with, especially around, for me, around the holidays. The holidays is particularly very triggering time for me. It's a trauma anniversary. But in general, I think that the pandemic has brought up just a big feeling of isolation. A lot of people don't consciously think about it, but just the fact that, it's not even just the fact that you can't really leave your house and just go out to wherever it is you would normally go to and see people, but it's also just the fact that, you can't see people's micro expressions all the time. You can't just go and hang out with your friends. And then also, people tend to over, diverge themselves into work
Yeah,
to keep themselves busy. And so, we're maybe not as accessible to each other. So if people are struggling, whether it's feeling lonely or feeling isolated, depressed, anxious, sometimes it's just feeling really angry or emotional, the first thing that you should do is just talk to a loved one about it. And if you don't have someone that you trust enough, or maybe they're not healthy to talk to, is to reach out to a licensed counselor. And something that I do through my social media platforms is that people can reach out to me directly. I'm not a licensed clinician, but what I do is I help people find licensed counselors in their area. So I go on Psychology Today and I just help them find, people that are in their area to connect to.
that is pretty awesome. Yeah. um that's pretty awesome that you do, because, especially during these times now, there's just a lot of people that, like, struggle with stuff. So it's good that, like, even if they don't have somebody to, go to, and let's say they're on your platform, at least, like, if they come to you and be like, hey, like, I'm struggling with this or that, at least, a little bit something. Because, there's just some people that, do this type of work, and then they're just like, well, you need to find somebody. You need to find. It's just like, but where do I go and find? Like, at least you're confident enough in your work to know that, like, you can be like, all right, give me a second. Let me go here and let me check for you. Hopefully that, you know, or if they just want to talk to you directly, at least, like, you can stay positive and, help with whatever's going on with that person's life.
Yeah, and I always say to people, like, I can't offer any type of professional service, but I can be your friend. And my platform has gotten pretty big in the past year, so it does get harder to keep up with the amount of people messaging me. But what I do try to still do is sometimes I'll even take like a group call if everybody's comfortable with that. And um, every few months I'll post like a list of phone numbers. So, if you're struggling with an eating disorder, this is a list of phone numbers. And I always personally call the numbers before I ever post them. I
Okay.
call and I'm a patient before I ever post them. Like, I check them out and I'm like making sure that before I ever tell someone, hey, this is a good hotline to call, that I've personally used them before,
Yeah.
as I would never want someone to take my guidance and then be like, why did you tell me to do that? Because it was a horrible experience. You know what
Right.
I
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely smart, because, yeah, everybody has their own different experience, but at least, you can find the right person, or whichever, to, talk about things.
mean? Yeah.
So let's get into your new album. This is, in my if I'm correct, your second album, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk more about that. Like, what's, like, the meaning behind it? Like, what's the meaning behind the album name, and the songs, the songs you have on it, if you can speak about that.
So, so the process is about the experience of going through life changing trauma and entering into the trauma recovery process.
Hmm.
Um, So I think that trauma is something that's often like minimized and looked past, but it's also a really big population of the people who have experienced like trauma is a really big population of people. Um, so it's a concept album, which there's not that like many of anymore. And so it kind of starts off with um, a recent trauma. 2 years ago, I lost my mom unexpectedly, and
Sorry.
thanks. And that was like something that ended up just triggering something in my brain, and like I can't explain it. It was just something that like losing a parent is hard for anybody, and literally just for anybody it's like this horrible experience, but for me what happened was is I started developing these really weird symptoms
Yeah.
over like the following months, and I ended up having to be hospitalized for what ended up becoming a what was called a trauma disorder. And they were like, you know, you have something called CPTSD, and it comes from going through basically several multiple traumas and being exposed to prolonged trauma. And I was like, okay, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And it turned out that like a lot of what I had been through as a kid like wasn't normal. And I mean, I kind of knew that, but I also thought that I was living a fairly normal adult life already. I was kind of just like, you know, shaken up, like, why is all of these memories coming back that I didn't remember these things? And so the album starts off with a song about losing my mom, and it goes through this literally like the album goes through this trauma leading into a song called The Sinking Ship, which is about struggling with suicide ideation. And the song is literally written as a suicide note because that is what led into my hospitalization, was an attempt. And then the album takes a turn into being hospitalized and going into the trauma recovery process.
Wow. Wow. That's pretty crazy. But I know, um, from any musician, from country to hip hop to R&B, there's always that like one album where like you can connect with it, and in a certain way, even if it's like one song, two songs, three songs, or even the whole album. At least like there's connections in ways where like that person will be just like, oh, that's a cool song, but for you it's meaningful to like, and it hits you in a different way than just saying, oh, that's a cool song. You hear the lyrics different, you hear the tone of from your voice, or just the album itself is just different. And then comparing it like to like another song, every song hits different for certain people,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. But yeah, we struggle with all different things, but everybody goes through their own process, and at least you have music to connect with.
Yeah. Yeah.
What made you get into music? Like what started you into it?
So I have been writing songs since I literally could probably like remember. My first instrument that I ever learned was actually drums, and I used to write songs by singing and playing drums. Like
Okay.
my dad would call me Ringo. And then like I got like a little older and I realized that like no one could hear anything I was saying. And then because I was playing drums and singing. And then I like learned more melodic instruments when I got to middle school, and I just like picked up, you know, more band, and I'm actually like a trained classical percussionist that ended up being like my thing. And then when I made the decision to become like a full-time like you know, alt pop country singer, that came from, you know, 2 years ago, um, I won the New York Your Big Break competition. That's where I met Brim, and he was one of the judges. And everything in my life just kind of changed because I, at the time, had not opened up to anybody about the fact that I was even struggling. And I got up on the stage for this competition and I sang the song about losing my mom. And Brim just really saw me for who I was. I ended up winning the competition. And then by the time I got out of the hospital, I started working with Brim as my manager. So
That is
that's
awesome.
literally how everything just kind of played out.
That is pretty awesome. I gotta say, shout out to Brim. If everybody don't know, check him out. He's an awesome guy. I just want to say thank you for telling me that you want to come on the show today, and I appreciate you wanting to come on also.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely, definitely, it's really nice to connect with different people that in a different way, if from music to whatever type of art they like to do, from dancing to basic art to anything, to from collecting. That's what the show is all about. That's So let's talk about your first album, which came out in 2018. Is The Castle You Built Me. I actually when we first talked, and then afterwards I actually listened to that whole album. And there
Wow.
yeah, yeah, I had to know what I'm getting myself into, and who I'm bringing on the show. So I had to give it a listen. And it had like 7 songs. And so I threw on the Apple Music. I was like, all right, let me listen to this. I will say I'm not really a country type of person, but I was just like, let me give this a shot. Not everybody likes country, but some, like, maybe certain artists that's like up and poppity country, like how you are. And I really gotta say, I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. Um, and there were some few songs that I was just like, huh, and like I had to like re-listen to it because I was just like, can I connect to that? And I was just like, in maybe ways, like it hits the feels, and then I was just like, okay, and then I'm like, I actually like it. Like I'm not a person to really like country, as I said, but I really enjoyed it. And I gotta say, you did great. So tell us more about that album.
So first off, thank you for listening to it and taking the time to check it out. I know it's not usually your cup of tea, but yeah. So the Castle You Built Me is something that I will always still be proud of. It was my first album. It's so different than The Process. The Process has more of an alternative feel. I really get into a little bit more of my vision behind my music and who I am. With that being said, um, The Castle You Built Me is a very interesting album. I think the biggest difference is there's definitely points of the album where, for me, once you hear The Process, you're gonna be like, she was really walking on eggshells. Like, um, when you actually know what those songs are about, it'll be like, you're gonna be like, wow, that's really sad. Like, I think it was so funny because I remember, like, I teach music also, and like, now I don't have the time, but like I would have a lot of students coming in and out, and they'd be like, can we buy your album? Of course. um and I remember, like, their parents would always come up to me after, and they're like, are you okay? I was like, yes, I'm fine. And they're like, you need to find better partners. So funny. Um, but like, Close the Window, which is like everyone's favorite song off the album, is actually a song about the relationship I never had with my mom.
Mm.
And that always like breaks everybody because they're like, what? And then Triple J is like very foreshadowing of The Process, because I hate that recording. I can't listen to it. It's very cringy for me because the recording engineer refused to take out the fact that I was like bawling in the recording.
I will say, I was gonna ask you about that. And I did hear a little like ball, and I was like, and I was like, is she crying a little bit? And I'm just like, well, that brings more like oomph to that song, because you may connect with it.
Everybody likes it. The thing is I wanted to go back into, where I do my distribution through, and I wanted to pull the song off of the album.
Mm.
And when I had announced it, I was like, hey, just letting you know to go in and save the song on your downloads because I'm doing this. My fans like were like, what? The song about the dinosaur? Why would you do
Yeah.
that? And I was like, okay, I didn't realize this was a thing. but like, yeah, everybody really loved that song. It's just that the engineer, the producer, Tony DeFestano, he was very about authenticity of the artist. And when I initially sang the song to record the vocals, I sang it really pretty. I was just like, you know, we took home Triple J, and like I just sang it really pretty. And then he like clicked the stop button. He's like, that is not how you came in here and pitched the song. You were sad, and that boy was mean. And where I was going with it is that the process, the upcoming album, which is available for pre-save right now,
Definitely is.
really goes into the fact that that song Triple J is actually, it really, like, it's actually sad for me to look at it now, because I was walking on eggshells to basically try to tell people that I was in an abusive relationship. And I literally couldn't say that, to the point that I was literally writing a song about the perspective of my relationship through a stuffed animal. And
Mm,
like, I literally went out of my way to say, like, watching me fight with you instead of you fight with me. And I remember changing the line just so that in case he heard it, he wouldn't come back to like scream at me
yeah.
or me. Like, I was so scared of this person. And in the process, I'm not that kind. Like, I'm like, no, this is what happened, and
Yeah.
this person did, and there's no eggshells that I'm walking on in that.
Okay. Yeah. I felt like that, like this album was like a little powerful in some ways, and I was just like what happened? What happened this year? And I gotta say I do like there was, I don't remember which song, unfortunately, and I did like when you was singing that you did like a little giggle, and I was like, oh, you don't really hear that much in music when somebody's singing and they giggle, or and there was the whole album. I was just like, you went from like a little up to a little low to in between, and I was just like, I don't know how to feel, but I was just like, but I could connect in certain songs of why like you may be like tiptoeing, or as you said, on eggshells about certain things that you want to say but can't, because I felt like you was holding back. But I was just like, I was like, maybe it's a really sensitive subject that she don't want to get really into at the moment.
Yeah, and I will say that for The Castle You Built Me, there's a really great song that's coming out on February 26th. It's the single. It's called My Radio Song, and it actually references The Castle You Built Me.
Okay.
And it's really cool because some of my fans, I've leaked the song too early if they're a Patreon in the fan club, and they all like got the reference and they were like, I get it now. It was the castle you didn't build her. It never actually existed. And I was like, you guys need to calm down a little bit. But you know,
When you connect with fans and they could understand you in a way where like it's not just an album, like, or it's not just a song, it's something reference to something. Like everybody, there's just people that just really do that. Like they'll listen to an album all day every day, and then like you'll find their blog about that album, and you can really like, when you read about it, it's just like this song connects with this, or this song has to do with that, and then this song is just like this does a whole circle around her whole album. So when you have dedicated fans, they understand you in a way where, let's say me, where I'm just getting into it and listening to it, I may not connect in a way of more like the fans from the start.
right.
Yeah. I do have, I'm ready. I will say I am pre-saved for the next album, and
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear it. I did hear, because Apple Music does have like the one song available is I didn't fit in anyway. And I did hear that, and I was just like, okay. And I was just like, I kind of relate to the song, because it's just like, especially with like the title itself, I was just like, what does this mean? So I had to listen to it, and is I'm just gonna say this, like a lot of your songs are like powerful and meaningful, where you could connect to it anyway in any situation. even if like you're not in that situation, and then you figure out you are in that situation, and you just never noticed it. And you definitely can feel your tone in it. I will say.
Thank you. Yeah, I was really excited about I didn't fit in any way. And the thing that I forgot to mention is, with the first album, a lot of the songs I wrote at the age of 13, 14,
Okay.
all the way up to 8, with like a few of the songs being at the age of 18, and the process is more recent, obviously. I didn't fit in any way.
Hmm.
I wrote actually as one of the last songs that I had added to the album. Um, and it's about, you know, just this constant feeling of me, trying to, I struggle. I almost said I still struggle, but I've gotten better with it. But being a people pleaser, and I think a lot of people struggle with that. But I used to struggle with it to such an extent that like my life was always about trying to make other people happy,
Hmm.
and that song was just like I was going through this really bad rebellious phase of my life where like it was to a point where it was like excessive. Like if someone said don't do this, I was like I'm gonna do it. like
Yeah.
like um it was like, just weird things, and I was talking about it in therapy. And I had written the song which was basically like, you all give me these expectations to meet, and then you watch me fail, and then you get mad at me for failing. So fuck it, I'm gonna mess it up anyway.
Definitely.
So fine, I might as well just be myself then. And I'm still figuring out who myself is, but that's going to be a lot of a better path for me than trying to please, you and people. Just that was like the whole thing of the song. And when I released it, I actually thought it was kind of funny. Like I thought it was a funny song, and then people when they started hearing it, which so far has been my highest played song on Apple Music, close, almost hitting close to Close the Window. People were messaging me like that it was like really hitting home for them, and like these sentimental things, which was so sweet. I never thought that so many people felt like they have these high expectations in their life, and how much it actually affects their mental health of just feeling like they never can meet them, you
Yeah.
know, and how important authenticity is like to the mental health.
Yeah.
So it's been an important thing coming like in the back of my head lately.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with what you're saying. Like, when as as a kid, you don't know like how to act or like how to fit in when and some people are socially awkward in situations, especially in school when you're trying to meet new people and as you say, you do try to fit in, you do try to be in the crowd of just like trying to please like that person or this person. And then like when you finally get to that point where let's say you're with those type of people to high school, let's say, there comes a point in your life where like you figure out you're not really fitting in, but you're just adapting to want to fit in, and then you just deal with whatever situation you are in with those people. And yeah, and as like you said, sometimes you gotta say fuck it, because it's just like I'm not gonna do this. You don't want to do this anymore. You don't want to please that person or the crowd that you're in just because everybody likes each other, and you have that one moment where you're just like, I don't like this person, I don't like that person, but I do like you. And you don't want to be in that situation where like let's say you are, let's say, out with a group of friends, and that person you don't like is there, and you just got to put yourself in a state where you're like, "Ugh, I guess I gotta like that person, and because everybody else likes that person even though I don't." So there's many ways you could put that song in the perspective with like work or high or school or even family in general, where like you know you want to adapt, but at the same time like you're just like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. And a lot of people come to that um life where they're just like, I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to adapt. I don't want to be here. And I would even say like I've even gotten to that point when after like school or like certain jobs where I'm just like, fuck it. I don't need to please this person, that person just to get where I want to be. I'm gonna just be my straight up self.
Right.
And even like my friends like even tell me which I will agree sometimes. I've gotten to that point where I'm just like fuck it, like I'm gonna be myself. If you love me, you love me. If you don't, then there's a way out. That's how I'm very I can be very cold hearted about it or very brutal. And some people are just like, well, that's Lewis, and it's just like, yeah, it is me. So I think everybody comes in their point of life where they're just like, I don't want to do that anymore. And I will even say like even also like my friends be like, Lewis, you're not sugarcoating anything. You're very straightforward. And I'm just like, I've adapted to myself in life where like you have to be straightforward. You can't sugarcoat things. Maybe you should sugarcoat certain things in life because you don't want to hurt this person or that person. But at the same time, it's just like no. Sometimes that person needs to hear it.
And I think there's only, I would say two things. The first is that there's only so much you can constantly, digress. You know what I mean? Like you can only, you're not responsible for other people's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. And I have to say that affirmation to myself every time I write an email and every time I write a text. That is enough emotional labor for me
Yeah,
to let alone actually have to think about other people. And I always tell people, I'm like, if you have a concern about the way that I said something or the intent behind something I say or do, call me,
yeah,
talk to me, hear my tone of voice, because I would never, if you know me, I would never like to a fault. I could never say something just to hurt somebody. I would never want that because, first of all, as a trauma survivor, that is the last thing that I want for somebody else is to hurt somebody else, to be the reason someone else is hurting. I would never want to be the people that have hurt me.
yeah,
And, the other piece of that is that you learn after struggling with so much anxiety at some point in your life that, like, you just, you, I don't know how to say this in a way that maybe is the best way to say it. So, I might not recommend this for other people, but when you struggle with as much anxiety as I do, I feel like you have to really think about where to pick your battles with it. And I already have it to like so much anxiety to spread around, you know what I mean, throughout my day. And it's like when I go to send an email, I can only read over it so many times or a text so many times or think about how I'm going to say something so many times to
yeah,
the point where I'm like, I'm just going to say it very matter of fact because this is an evidence based statement. And if they have a concern about how I said it, I have to trust that they're going to bring that to me. I can't like, and also if you sugarcoat it, then you're also taking the chance that they will perceive that as a different statement. So there's so many things that you could worry about. And maybe I'm going to allow my anxiety to maybe just go in a different direction that day. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
use the emotional labor for something else. And there was also something you said that was really important. You were talking about like fitting in and trying to, going through the developmental years of like trying to fit in with crowds, and we learned that behavior from being so young.
Yeah.
And I think that's something else that we learn is that like, especially from authority figures or people who have power differentials, like you mentioned, like trying to get that job or like, whatever it is, like the song mentions, this idea of, you know, um, tie my laces, push me down, and then watch me fall. And it's
Mm,
this concept of like, you're doing something and then watching me fail at it and then standing back and being like, see, she failed.
yeah.
And for me, that's been an ongoing theme in my life of just me feeling it's a feeling, of course, you feelings are not facts, but there's still validity behind emotions. And it's this feeling of chasing after something and then someone having maybe a view of you or a light of you. And if someone is committed to misunderstanding you, then you have to let that go. And it's the same theme that we're talking about now. You're not responsible for other people's thoughts, behaviors, or feelings. And, you know, that ending line of, you know, well, I didn't fit in anyway. It's not meant to say like, you know, I won't work on my flaws or I don't have self-improvement to do. It's saying that that's not what we're talking about. It's saying that you don't get to tell me what those things are. That's my own work that I have to do. But like, I'm not gonna spend my life trying to you know, to be another extension of you, because
Yeah.
that's not a life worth living. And we
Yeah.
should really be teaching younger kids. Like I have a brother who's 15, he's in high school, and like, you know, we should be teaching kids, you know, it's okay not to like certain people. That's your gut, that's your that's your instincts telling you maybe they have a different core value system than you. It's okay to not hang out with that group if someone's there that day that you don't want to be around. It's
Yeah.
okay to like, you know, like we should be teaching kids that, but instead we teach them like keep your head down and
Yeah.
and
Adapt.
get bullied, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It's true. We we learn to, as you know, from our parents or anything that we watch, is, you know, be nice. And it's just like, how? That question of how can I be nice, or what way can I be nice? I like this, and then like you're just like, you're thinking about it and you overthink, and then like your nice is saying something that may not be in a mean way, but it comes out in a mean way because you may not like that person, even though you're trying to say something nice, let's say.
Right. And like how do we teach people, you know, a better way of like, you know, I don't need to change myself to fit into a job. You know, I
Right.
find jobs that I fit into. And that's coming from someone who worked for a corporate company. You know what I mean? Like, not every job is for you. Like, maybe I pass up on this promotion because of who I'd be working with, but this position works well for me because it utilizes my interests and my strengths and even my improvement areas it would help me with, and the people that I'd be working with are different, and like, and that's okay. Instead of teaching people to constantly try to morph into things, that kind of pressure, and then when we see like the type of pandemic thing that we're dealing with, even as a musician working in the pandemic, we're trying to tell people like, well, you should be really productive, morph into that. And it's like, personally, as someone who struggles with, you know, with what I do, being isolated and having to work from home and being constantly distracted by things, that environment doesn't work for me. And I'm a very productive person.
Yeah.
So, you know, having that self compassion to say, well, you know, it's not that I'm not going to be productive till it's over, but having a little self compassion to say, like, I might not be at my best right now, and that's okay. Like, that's a very different mindset than why am I not getting as many things done as other people are right now.
Yeah, definitely. I will agree with you on that, especially when this pandemic hit. I wouldn't say I'm an active person, but I am a person that's like, as they call New Yorkers, always on the go.
Yep.
And when I got furloughed, I was just like, okay, what to do? And then it's just like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. But then I'm like, not really, because we're in a pandemic. We can't really do things that we would like to do or want to do. It's just like, and your mindset is just like, I need to stay home, I need to stay healthy. And then you're just like, all right, what I'm gonna do at home? And then there's so much you can do from home, where to a point it's just like, all right already,
Yeah.
ah, you
Where do
know.
I end? Where does work me begin? And they need to be two different people
Yeah,
because, oh my goodness.
yeah, yeah. You you built yourself on a platform where you're just like, this is Lewis, and then this is work Lewis, where like work Lewis is more professional, a little funny still, but you know, you gotta stay professional, where regular Lewis can be himself, and you know, still be liked by his friends, or you know, still be that funny person or whatever that you are. It's pretty crazy. And to even bring up that topic where you said, you know, um where you were saying that like the way you say things, um it doesn't affect people's emotions and stuff like that. or it shouldn't affect other people's emotions. And I will say this because, like, since I'm very like straightforward and to the point, I know sometimes I do say stuff that are like, it sounds mean, and I will agree to that. And then there's some things where, like, I will say, and people and people or friends will be like, "Why you say it like that?" And that's really hurtful. And I'm just like, well, it shouldn't hurt you. It should be more like an understanding, or like, I can't control the way you feel when I say things. Like, if you feel that way, that's on you, like, not me. I'm already being, you know, I guess you could say nice, in a way where, you're already saying something nice, but not in an aggressive way.
Well, and what I said wasn't that like it shouldn't affect them, right? But like instead, more of an affirmation for yourself is that I can't control other people's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and
Yeah,
also I'm not responsible for other people's thoughts, feelings, behaviors.
yeah,
I find it really helpful for that affirmation because I tend to worry a lot about how other people are going to feel or respond, um, which I think a lot of the trauma mental health population does. I think people in general do. But I also feel like, I'm like you, I'm a very direct person. Even, I used to be a manager for like a music store. And when I would talk to employees, especially via text message, I write without any emotion. And so people will be like, did you mean this? And I'm like, do you think I meant that? Like,
yeah, yep,
like, look at me. Like, this is the type of hat I wear. Like, what do you think I meant?
yeah,
But how I usually respond is just using like a very compassionate statement, like, you know, um, I hear how you're feeling. This was my intent because intent isn't always impact, and impact does matter. And like I'm not trying to be cheesy, but one of the lines in the song that I just released and I didn't fit in anyway, which is important, is impact isn't intent, it's the scar. And that goes both ways, right? So, like, for me, I'm talking in that song as someone who's on the receiving end, right? Like, your impact might not be, I'm sorry, your intent might not be to hurt me. It might not be to put me down or to make me chase after expectations. It might not be to have said something in a way that hurt me.
yeah,
But your intent isn't always what matters. It's the impact. Now, that doesn't mean that every time we do something we can constantly think about how it's going to impact people, because you're not responsible for my emotions and I'm not responsible for yours. But impact, yeah. So I think that when we're thinking about the impact, something that can be helpful, especially in friendships where like you do genuinely care about their emotions, is, you
yeah,
know I hear you, especially if it's a normal conversation. I feel like, this is a normal miscommunication between us. How can we work together to have like a better communication moving forward so that you're not perceiving me to be speaking that way? Because this is what I intended to say. This is
yeah,
how I normally speak. I'm just speaking directly. And then also, like, understanding like your communication level and them understanding from the receiving line. I was just talking about this with someone I work with the other day, actually, because they literally were just saying to me, my text messages are very direct and they can sound a certain type of way. And I was like, I prefer to actually speak on the phone for this reason. And they were like, I don't have time. And we went back and forth. And the conclusion that we got to was, could we assume the best in each other? And
yeah,
could you try to fluff up your text a little bit? And that was a compromise, because
yeah,
it was like, you know what? I hear you. You just want to know that that's not how I'm coming off. And I'm going to try to be a little bit more fluffy with you in particular, because this relationship matters to me.
yeah,
And I might not always get to the version in your head that you want me to be. So can you assume the best of light in me, and kind of meeting that halfway?
yeah, yep. I definitely agree with you. Um, yeah, there's sometimes you gotta change your tone, even though your tone still sounds the same. And one little word can change a whole text, and they're just like, okay, compared to like,
This is why I don't like texting though, because I'm like, I can't think about that kind of stuff when I'm texting. I just write like okay, and then someone's like, okay. I wrote this long message and you just say okay, and I'm like,
yeah, yeah,
driving, man.
yeah, yeah, it's true. Like, uh, people don't like the word K or okay or
See, but
oh.
that's funny that you say that because K upsets me. Like I was dating this guy and he wrote K back to me and we were talking later on the phone and I'm not gonna lie, I'm working on my communication level, but it'll come up like halfway through the conversation. I'll be like, LOL, it's kind of like when you wrote K to me earlier at like 5:45 p.m. And he's like, are you upset about that, Ari? And I'm like, what? No, who's upset? That would be
Yeah,
something stupid to get upset about unless it was meant to make me upset.
yeah,
You're insane.
yeah. It's true. It's sometimes you don't know. Like I can just say K and just in a normal conversation where you'll just be like, "Oh, I'm running 5 minutes late." I'll be like, "K," instead of writing "okay," and then they'll answer back like, "Are you mad?" And I'm just like, no, it's fine. It's just like you're 5 minutes late, but okay. Like I don't know what else to how to answer that text or or even the conversation. It's just like
It's
I'll see
so
you.
funny how like it's funny. Like I said, I'm such a direct texter, but like I can be very sensitive too, so
Yeah,
I totally get it. I guess I just don't like having serious conversations via text, but
yeah,
anyway.
yeah. So your album's coming out soon, which is next month, and are you excited?
Yes. So what I'm working really hard on right now is trying to get people to pre-save. And if you pre-save, which you totally should, because one, the music's really awesome. Two, even if you don't like the music, I'm really cool. And yeah.
Yeah,
Um, and if you pre-save, send me a screenshot that you pre-saved because I have some incentives that I'm sending out as a thank you to people who pre-saved for the album.
that's pretty awesome, and I will show everybody. I pre-saved already. It's already
Hey,
off, as everybody can see. And the only song that's there right now.
is that
But
on iTunes?
yeah, that's on iTunes.
Send me a thing via email and I'll message you back and forth. I have something to send you. It's for the first
Oh,
50 people who pre-save. So I haven't hit that number just yet. So
thank you. Everybody definitely pre-save. Everybody check out her first album. It's everywhere. Amazon.
except for the crying song, because
Yeah, maybe get ready to feel some. If you're in your feelings, you might if even if you don't like country, like check it out. I like I said, like I'm not.
more of like alternative rocky kind of
Yeah,
country. Yeah.
yeah. So as your second album comes out, are you working on your third, or
So
you're settling just for this right now?
so actually what I am working on is I am writing a single. So this weekend I leave for New Orleans and I'm gonna be doing New Orleans. I still said it wrong. And I'm gonna be doing some work over there. It's hard to do anything properly with my New York accent. But I'm gonna be doing some work out there. I'm working also on a single for when I get back to New York at the end of March. And there is going to be a really awesome person who's also going to be guest starring on my single, which is DMC.
Ooh,
So,
okay.
yeah, so that'll be coming out
Exciting,
around the time of the album.
exciting. So I gotta say, because I was reading. I don't know where I was reading it. Maybe I was reading on your Facebook or somewhere around your pages. Um, there was a part where you said I think your fans was comparing you to like a Taylor Swift type of mood.
Yep. I get that a lot.
I'm just gonna say this. Like there's no comparison with you and Taylor Swift. So it may sound the same, but like if you listen from like one song to one of, let's say, Taylor Swift's song, it's totally different. There's totally two different emotions, and and that's it.
I am a huge Swiftie, so I take if someone told me that I sounded like Taylor Swift, I take that as a humongous compliment. If someone said that I don't sound like Taylor Swift, I take that as just an opportunity to be unique and authentic. So um, I'd say either way, thank you.
Yeah, I feel like you're unique in your own way, and stay like that, because I feel with music, um a lot of artists almost sound the same, but they put their own feel into it, but you can definitely feel like, okay, they sound like this person. And I really like more of just like when let's say a new artist comes out, or if I listen to a new artist, that they put their own style and feel and emotion towards it, because that's what grasps you into listening more into their music, or listening more to when they have a new album coming out, or even a music video, let's say. It's that emotional, or just like feel to their music.
Yeah, I always get like for people that leave like a music review, they'll be she sounds like a newer mix between like a Taylor Swift and Alanis Morissette. And I'm
Okay.
always kind of like, I kind of get that. I'll give that. Demi Lovato and Taylor Swift are like my two biggest pop icon idols, and I love them both a lot. For different reasons. So, like I said, someone could compare me to anybody, and I would just be thankful that I'm on their radar in their head as someone who is a known artist. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have so besides Taylor Swift and Demi Lovato, who else do you like?
To listen to, or like as
Yeah,
someone.
to listen to, or like your like fan favorite, like your go-to of anything.
So, what I listen to and what I strive to so those are my two biggest influences as far as the music that I write. What I listen to everything. A lot of people wouldn't expect that. I listen to a lot of pop punk music, hip hop, R&B, like everything.
Okay.
I've done a lot of ghostwriting for like pop punk music, hip hop, but all the way from like Taking Back Sunday, Brand New.
Okay.
My favorite country band is my favorite band in general is Rascal Flatts. Brad Paisley, Faith Hill, Celine Dion, Tim McGraw. I know
Okay.
I'm forgetting people. I love Beyonce, Lizzo. So I'm
Okay.
all over the
Okay.
place.
That's very good. That's very good. I know some people stay in their own genre of music, and then there's some that listen to everything just to get a feel of everything. So what can we expect more from you? More out of you when with your next album, and more release of music and singles. Like, what can we expect?
So I would say to expect that you'll be seeing a lot more of me. My goal is to do everything in my human power to try to chart, and that's going to come from people helping to pre-save the album. Right now it's on Apple, iTunes, and Amazon Music, but I'm really pushing for the Apples and iTunes right now. But if you have Amazon, do that. You could do both. And then I think later next month we'll be pushing for Spotify. And then I'm doing the track with DMC, which is just an incredible thing. It's an incredible opportunity. I'm doing, I just got endorsed by Bear Dynamic. They make an incredible microphone, so I'm super excited about that.
That's
Retro
awesome.
Rage, which makes 1950s clothes, which is like literally how I dress every day. So, and AMI guitars, which is I'm actually getting my guitars in today, which I'm like super excited about. So,
Fancy, fancy. Congratulations on all your endorsements, and
thank you.
hope for more, and to also follow your journey. And I'm gonna be a long time follower, so
Thank you. Thank
see
you.
you there.
Thank you.
So, any last words for like your viewers, or both our viewers, any last words you want to say of like encouragement, or anybody that may want to like do music also?
I would say that if anything we talked about with mental health resonated with you, or you want to ask me questions, or you have a topic that you'd like me to talk about in a video, I do a mental health Tuesday every Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, so I'll be talking about trauma and dissociative disorders because that was the topic that was recommended. Um, but you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and the biggest thing that I could say is for people that are getting into music is just keep pushing. That's what I tell myself every day. It feels like a lot of hustling and a lot of work, but I remind myself that it's what I want to do and it's important to me, and we all deserve to do what we love. So
Definitely, definitely. I definitely agree with you. Um, I definitely want to say thank you for coming on the show today. Really appreciate it. I really shout out to Brim again for telling you to come on the show and see if I wanted you on, which of course definitely I did. And you know, keep doing your music because I like it, and you know, I have it pre-saved already. So everybody that has not pre-saved or even just to check it out, just check it out. She's on Apple Music, and you know, give it a go. If it's not your, it's not a, it's not for you. Just keep, you know, you can move on. But if it is for you, you know, show some support, give a few downloads if anything, or give a shout out and tag Ari, and you know, that's it. Show some support. That's what the development is all about, showing support to everybody in their craft.
thank you so much for having me.
Definitely, definitely. And one last time, where can people find you again?
I am on every social media platform, but I mostly encourage people to follow me on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and I am on all major music streaming platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon.
All right, those will definitely be down below in the description, and you guys can follow me. It's official. It's underscore official, and you can also find me on MDMC's entertainment platform, and just follow us there on Facebook, Instagram. You know, give us a thumbs up and subscribe on YouTube. You'll be seeing more of me and my partner Martha, um, and you guys should have a resty good day. Any last words, Ari?
No, thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.